What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we have WWE top 10 facts about Daniel Bryan. After watching his retirement speech on Monday Night Raw, I was actually really sad. I actually shed a tear, guys. I'm a man, alright? You know, true men cry. It was actually really sad. I'm gonna miss him, so I want to make this tribute video for him. Enough talking, let's get straight onto the list, guys. Number 10, environmentalism. Daniel Bryan is an amazing human being and does his best to live as green as possible. He's all for solar panels and thinks it's a much better way to live life, which helps the earth. Arizona stated that they would be charging people who install solar panels, and Daniel Bryan was furious and tweeted about it. He tweeted, "Arizona will start charging people who install solar panels next year. Corporate greed strikes again." He's still fighting to this day and trying to get Arizona to revoke the idea. Number 9, hard of hearing. When you're a professional wrestler, over the years you will have problems towards your health. This applies to Daniel Bryan in the sense of his actual senses. While he was wrestling Kenta, also known as Hideo Itami, in Ring of Honor, Bryan suffered a ruptured eardrum which he never fixed. Due to the injury, Bryan cannot swim or enter any deep waters and even has trouble hearing out of his left ear. The road of being a pro wrestler is a wild one, but as many critics constantly like to say, "It's all fake, they don't wrestle, blah blah blah." Yes, it is fake and scripted, but the human body is a real thing. Number 8, Kimya Dawson song. Daniel Bryan is good friends with Kimya Dawson, who is an American songwriter / singer. Dawson has a very unique style of music which makes her different from many artists. She is an indie folk artist, which means you won't find her on the big radio station. Dawson is a wrestling fan and was very sad about the death of Lou Albano. For any of you who don't know who Lou Albano is, he is one of the greatest managers in professional wrestling history. Dawson decided to write a song dedicated to him called Captain Lou. The unique thing about the song is it features good old Daniel Bryan singing some background vocals. The song is a really nice and well done tribute. Number 7, Velocity match versus John Cena. Way before Daniel Bryan beat John Cena at SummerSlam in 2013 for the WWE Championship, the two had a match on a WWE show called Velocity 10 years before their match at SummerSlam. On February 8th, 2003, John Cena challenged the 22-year-old Daniel Bryan, who was called Bryan Danielson at the time, which is his real name, for a match. Cena defeated Daniel Bryan in the match, but this was the beginning of Daniel Bryan's career in the WWE. 7 years later, he would return and change his name to Daniel Bryan and got that huge push. No one would have ever thought that those two would headline the SummerSlam main event a decade later. Number 6, Daniel Bryan Day. Mayor Michael Colley of Yakima, Washington, made Friday, January 13, 2012, Daniel Bryan Day throughout the city. During this time, Daniel Bryan was a heel and was even the World Heavyweight Champion. This was also during the whole him and AJ Lee relationship storyline, which he blamed for a loss months later at WrestleMania 28 when Sheamus defeated him in only 18 seconds for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was the first major title run Daniel Bryan had in the WWE. Isn't it pretty awesome to have a day to yourself? Let's have Plana Day. Anyone want to have Plana? No? Okay. Number 5, Daniel Bryan is a great person. Daniel Bryan is an amazing person outside of the wrestling ring. If you watch his retirement speech on Raw, he discussed why he cut his hair. The reason he cut his hair was to donate it. He donated it to a charity that uses hair to make wigs for kids with or are recovering from cancer. Another charity he works with is the Connor's Cure charity, which is a charity helping to find a cure for others with Connor's disease. Number 4, real life superhero. 2 burglars broke into Daniel Bryan's house in Phoenix, Arizona at night. As soon as Bryan arrived home, imagine his reaction when he saw the 2 unexpected burglars. But instead, let's imagine the faces of the burglars when they found out they tried robbing a professional wrestler. The burglars tried running away, but Daniel Bryan chased after them, and fortunately he caught one. After he caught him, he put him in a rear naked chokehold until the authorities arrived. Not this authority. The burglar, Cesar Sosa, was immediately arrested. Speaking later, Bryan said he didn't care about the items that could have been stolen, but instead he was worried for a 2-year-old French bulldog named Josie, who was inside the house. Daniel Bryan is such a great person, guys. Oh my god. Number 3, fired from the WWE. Daniel Bryan made his on-screen debut in 2010 with the Nexus. The Nexus were a force to be reckoned with. The Nexus came out and destroyed everything and everyone in their path, throwing things around, breaking the ring, and beating everybody in their path. The WWE was furious with Daniel Bryan's actions towards Justin Roberts though. Daniel Bryan strangled Justin Roberts with his own tie, and the WWE was not so happy with that. Then, the WWE later fired him that night. This makes no sense because he was simply being a heel looking like a bad guy, which is what bad guys do. They choke other people with ties. WWE even apologized to him though and said that they overreacted with this decision. Bryan would return a couple months later in August at SummerSlam when he was a surprise member for Team WWE. Number 2, the Yes Movement. The Yes Movement is one of the greatest things to happen in the WWE in the last 5 years. Royal Rumble 2014. Batista was set to win the Royal Rumble, but fans had something else to say about that. Fans were waiting for Daniel Bryan, and they were waiting for his arrival in the Royal Rumble, but he was nowhere to be found. Fans were outraged and together chanted. They chanted, "Daniel Bryan. We want Bryan." And yes, yes, yes. And they were even booing everyone else except for Daniel Bryan. When Batista won the Royal Rumble, the boos were loud and even louder. Every week, all the fans kept chanting, "Daniel Bryan," and the WWE started to notice something. They were like, I guess they want Daniel Bryan. This is what you got to do. To make the WWE notice something, you got to just keep chanting it every week. So they noticed. Daniel Bryan was inserted in the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 30 after defeating Triple H. He went on to defeat Batista and Orton and become the champion. Daniel Bryan got his WrestleMania moment, and we'll never forget that moment. The most unique thing about all this is it's all organic. The WWE didn't give him a push. They didn't promote him that much. Instead, he got all this by himself, and that was a hard thing to do because in today's era, you either have to be liked by Vince McMahon or you're not in. You know, you're not a top guy. But no, Daniel Bryan changed the game. He wasn't a 6'5" bodybuilder, guys. He was a 5'10" wrestler. He was not what Vince McMahon wanted, but what the fans wanted. Number 1, the WWE was not a believer. When Daniel Bryan arrived to the WWE after leaving Ring of Honor, he brought a lot of fans with him. Die-hard Bryan fans were ready for Daniel Bryan and what WWE had in store for him. But there's one problem, and that one problem is called Vince McMahon. Daniel Bryan didn't have the look Vince McMahon perceives to be a WWE superstar. Either Vince McMahon likes you or he doesn't. One example of WWE not being a fan of Daniel Bryan is his debut. Daniel's debut was a dark match that wasn't even aired on TV. Vince McMahon was unhappy with his performance and sent him to FCW to develop his wrestling skills and adapt to his new environment. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. And I want to say one more thing about Daniel Bryan's retirement. Daniel Bryan, thank you for everything you have done. You were a great wrestler. You gave us great matches. You gave us great feuds, great storylines. It was amazing. You had a great career. You definitely have a great legacy in the WWE. Can't wait till you get inducted in the Hall of Fame. All I have to say is one last thing. Thank you, Daniel Bryan. Take care and spike your hair.